Imagine waking up at 70, looking out the window and realizing that the world you once knew feels a little more distant now. You thought you had time, but time has a way of sneaking up on you, doesn't it? You're no longer the young person you once were, and the changes that come with aging aren't always the quiet kind. Some are abrupt, some are subtle, but all of them leave their mark. As you look around, you realize that the life you once had is slipping through your fingers. It's a feeling that's hard to put into words, but if you've ever been there, you know exactly what it's like. This isn't something that happens overnight. It's a gradual shift. You start to feel the weight of the years as your body begins to change in ways you never expected. The mirror reflects someone you don't recognize, someone who doesn't move quite as fast, someone whose joints creak when you stand, whose energy isn't what it once was. But it's not just the physical changes. It's the things that start to disappear from your life. The friends who used to be by your side now only come around once in a while, if at all. The phone calls become fewer. The visits become rarer. You start to realize that the world doesn't stop for you just because you've gotten older. It keeps going, leaving you behind in a way that feels invisible. The truth is, no one talks about this part of aging, and no one prepares you for it. But here you are, living it every day. It doesn't matter if you've lived a life full of accomplishments or spent your days raising children and taking care of others. There comes a point when it all changes. The hardest part isn't the physical decline, though that's certainly brutal enough. No, the hardest part is the loneliness. It's the feeling of being forgotten, not by just the world, but by the people you once thought would always be there for you, the people who promised they would be. It's not just about being physically alone. It's about being emotionally isolated, disconnected from everyone and everything you once knew. It's the slow realization that time moves on without you. That's what happens to so many seniors. People who have given so much of their lives to others, but when it's time for them to be cared for, they find that the world has moved on. Friends die, children get busy with their own lives, and the people you thought would always be there are no longer in reach. And even though you might be surrounded by family members, their lives are so full that they forget to ask if you're okay. And if they do ask, it's not the same. There's a subtle shift that happens as you get older. The once vibrant and connected person becomes a shadow of themselves, quietly wondering if anyone really cares anymore. And the truth is, loneliness in old age is one of the most painful things you'll ever experience. The worst part of loneliness is that it becomes your companion. It's not something you can just shake off. It's not like being in a crowd and feeling alone for a moment. No, this is something deeper. It creeps into your thoughts, affects your emotions, and begins to shape the way you see yourself. You question your worth. You question your relevance in a world that seems to have no place for you anymore. The loneliness is like a slow erosion of your identity. And as the days turn into weeks and months, you start to feel like you're fading into the background, watching the world continue to move forward while you're stuck in place. But there's another side to this story. The physical changes that come with aging. You might wake up one morning and realize that something's just not right. Maybe it's the pain in your knees that wasn't there yesterday. Or maybe it's the way your back aches every time you get out of bed. It starts small, but over time, the aches and pains add up. You can't do the things you used to do. You can't get up as quickly. Your strength isn't what it once was, and soon even the simplest tasks feel impossible. You may try to ignore it, but the signs are clear. Your body is aging, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. You try to push through, but the body doesn't listen the way it used to. You've spent your life building strength, pushing yourself and overcoming obstacles. But now those obstacles are inside of you, in your very bones and muscles. The strength you once had seems like a distant memory. And it's not just the physical pain that hurts, it's the mental toll it takes. When you're no longer able to do the things you once did with ease, whether it's gardening, walking your dog, or simply carrying groceries up the stairs, it messes with your sense of independence. You feel like you're losing yourself. Your body, once your greatest ally, is now a battleground. It's a cruel irony that as you age, your body becomes less capable of carrying out the tasks that once felt so natural. And then there's the financial side of aging, which is perhaps the most heartbreaking of all. You've spent your life working, saving, and planning for the day when you would retire, only to find that retirement isn't the golden age of rest you imagine. The pension you thought would last a lifetime now doesn't even cover the basics. The cost of living has risen faster than your savings. Healthcare is more expensive than you ever anticipated. And the fear of running out of money becomes a daily reality. It's not just about wanting to enjoy your golden years. It's about surviving them. You've spent your life working hard, only to find that your savings have barely kept up with inflation. And that once comfortable life you dreamed of in retirement, it's slipping away. Every day you make choices. Do I buy my medications or pay for food? Do I go to the doctor? Or do I stay home because I simply can't afford it? The financial struggles of seniors aren't just about not having enough money for luxuries. It's about the very real fight to make ends meet. It's about navigating a system that doesn't always offer the support you need. It's about looking at your bills and wondering if you'll be able to pay them all this month. It's a grim reality for millions of seniors, and yet it's often one of the most underreported aspects of aging. But perhaps the most painful reality is the loss of identity that comes with aging. You've spent your whole life being someone, maybe a parent, a teacher, a lawyer, or a business owner. Your job, your responsibilities, your role in society, it all defined who you were. But now as the years pass, you start to feel less and less relevant. You retire, and with that, you lose the structure that once gave your life meaning. The sense of purpose that came with a job, with family, with taking care of others. Suddenly it's gone. You're left with the haunting question, who am I now? This loss of identity is a silent struggle that many seniors face, and it's not something people talk about. It's easy to overlook, but it's devastating. The days can begin to feel empty. Without work or responsibilities, you wonder if you've lost your reason to wake up in the morning. The world doesn't need you the way it once did. You're no longer the center of attention. You may feel like you're simply drifting through life, waiting for something to change, but nothing ever does. The hobbies you once enjoyed start to feel less enjoyable. You lose touch with the things that made you feel alive, and what's left is a growing sense of confusion and loss. But here's the truth. Aging doesn't have to be all about loss. It's about adapting. It's about finding new ways to live with the changes that come your way. Yes, the body changes, and yes, the world may feel more distant, but there's still room for connection, for purpose, for joy. You don't have to disappear into the background. You can still find meaning, even in the face of all the challenges. It won't be easy, but it is possible. The key is to embrace the reality of aging, accept the losses, and fight to maintain what you can. Your sense of purpose, your relationships, and your health. The truth is, even in your 70s, there's still so much more to live for. So while it's important to acknowledge the brutal truths of aging, it's equally important to remember that there's hope. It's a reminder that even though life after 70 isn't always easy, it's still worth living fully, with grace, resilience, and connection. And if you can accept that, then perhaps the final chapter of your story can be one of the most fulfilling and meaningful of all.